Do you love
the LA Chargers?
I hate all that.
Last-second heartbreaks.
I know I do. Don't forget everything you know about
The LA Chargers.
and say hello to the amazing
Jim Harbaugh Chargers.
I'm so excited!
Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Go to Bowl Fam, it's the director. Chargers fans, man. OTAs in the books. Mandatory minicamp just around the corner. The NFL being sued for some NFL Sunday ticket nonsense. It's a good Friday to be alive, Bowl Fam. It's a good Friday to be alive. Have you guys heard all the stuff that they're doing with the NFL games and how they're being streamed? It's absolutely ridiculous. You need like 7, 8 different streaming platforms just to get the job done. You guys know our sponsor, ExpressVPN. We're hoping to see the future of the NFL on streaming services. Well, you know what? We didn't mean that many streaming services. We'll be talking more about that as the season gets closer. I'm talking to them to see if we can find a way to get around all that nonsense. NFL Game Pass is certainly going to be the number way to do that. But anyway, I digress. All right, we'll talk more about that as we get more details. The Chargers, however, the Chargers. We're moving into an exciting part of the I should say we're moving into the slowest part of the offseason, but previewing the most exciting part of the offseason. Okay, the Chargers, mandatory minicamp coming up next week. After that, a bit of a dry spell, but then we lead into training camp, where things really start to rev up, okay? And it got me thinking. Actually, what really got me thinking was a buddy of mine asking me, hey, director, or my real name, what are you excited about in the upcoming season? He's not a Chargers fan, right? But he knows about the Jim Harbaugh hire. He knows what I do. And he knows that I'm pretty excited about that. And it got me thinking about, what am I excited about? If my buddies that aren't, Chargers fans, NFL fans, but not Chargers fans, are excited on my behalf about Jim Harbaugh, what gets me hyped about the team with my perspective as a fan? Because Jim certainly does lead the charge, but there's a lot going on this season that's really significant for me as a fan to experience for the first time in many, many years. There's a new wave of Chargers fans that have never experienced a coaching hire like this. Marty Ball was a long time ago. It's a significant move. It's a significant season, and there's a lot of things adding up to a very exciting season in 2024 for the LA Chargers. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Why I'm hyped for the Chargers in 2024. Before we do kick things off, man, shout out to the sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Use code DIRECTOR to match your first deposit up to $250. Newcomers, take a look at this new special on screen. It's a great way to support the channel and have some fun along the way. Before we do kick off, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. Small amount of time you guys take the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. On the road to 100K, baby. Thank you guys so much for getting us to 50K. Big dream come true for this big guy, man. Lights, camera, action. Why I'm hyped for the upcoming Chargers season in 2024. You guys in the comment section below, please. You're going to see how I'm listing these out. Please let me know some of the stuff that you're excited about in the upcoming season. I plucked a whole bunch of random stuff that's got me thinking all offseason. Like, there's those things that I'm super hyped about that I literally cannot wait to see during training camp, during, kickoff, et cetera, et cetera. I listed all these off in the video. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what gets me pumped about the year. But the biggest one I think we have to highlight at the very front of it is going to be Jim Harbaugh. I loved that, man. I loved having my buddies who, again, not Chargers fans, asking me about Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's football. Everybody knows Jim Harbaugh. NFL fans, college football fans, the man just won a national championship. It's a significant move. And even buddies of mine that, let's be honest, aren't as invested in the NFL or in sports or whatever, they understand Jim Harbaugh. They remember him in his Niners days. They just saw him win a national championship, and they were happy on my behalf. Because I've been that Chargers fan, at the end of the bar for many seasons, even leading up to the creation of this channel, getting his hopes up in the first half. We're up 3 possessions, and then a fumble here, a turnover there, a crushing defeat, leading to, laughter to the director exiting as all of the AFC West rival fans are laughing in our face. I've been there, man, and I got buddies who have been there along with me for the entire ride. They see this move, I get texts, which is fun. You know, like we talk football a lot, during the season. In the off season, we don't talk that much about it. I have you guys as my outlet for it. To get texts, to get calls, to get exciting conversations when we hang out or whatever about my team, about Jim Harbaugh is cool. Because their perspective is, man, this is a good move. This is a big move. I know director's going to be hyped about this move. As a fan, we're going bananas behind the scenes every single day. It's almost like you wake up and you still don't believe Jim Harbaugh is real. Right? It feels like it could have all just been a dream. Just watching this press conference go down, his introductory press conference, every once in a while I'll run into like a clip or something from it on Instagram or on Facebook, and I still can't believe it. It feels unreal. I've been watching that show, Ted Lasso, with my wife. We're almost through with it. I'm very heartbroken it's almost over. But Jim Harbaugh is the reason I'm watching it. He says it's his favorite show. And it honestly, to me, feels like almost a preview into his mind. Because when you watch it, it's so obvious that Ted Lasso is a lot like Jim Harbaugh. And as I've gotten to know the show, and I've gotten to know the character Ted Lasso, I feel like I've gotten to know Jim Harbaugh a little bit. Previous that, I actually did watch the, is it All or Not All or Nothing? It's the, All or Nothing. With the Michigan Wolverines of 2017 to really get to know Jim Harbaugh right after we made the hire. Actually, I think it was before we made the hire that I ended up watching it in anticipation of the hire. Dude's awesome. Dude's insane. Jim Harbaugh is a very unique personality in terms of his values, in terms of his philosophies, in the terms of how he tackles life and football, religion, everything kind of wrapped up together. It feels so genuine and so passionate and so focused and organized that it's really easy to understand why all of the hype and rumors and talk about Jim Harbaugh coming out of, minicamp and OTAs, why all of that feels so justified to me, because it feels just so freaking on point with everything that I've seen, at least behind the scenes. And that's why I roped in Ted Lasso in here too, down to Jim Harbaugh's favorite show. Everything feels like it's so perfect personality-wise to lead these guys into battle and give them the focus and confidence to create a culture shift. That's one of the biggest points. If you guys haven't seen Ted Lasso, definitely not a spoiler, but that's one of the biggest points of a show like that, or of what I saw in All or Nothing, which I definitely recommend from that season, is the culture built. And it's so easy to understand once you get more exposed to Jim Harbaugh, his personality, even through content like that, why it works everywhere he goes. And that's the biggest reason I am hyped for this season. Jim Harbaugh is the real deal. The Harbaugh legacy is the real deal. Was it Colin Cowherd that said, if you want a slam dunk guaranteed NFL coach hire a Harbaugh? And the Chargers did just that. This is significant. We've gone so long as Chargers fans wondering who the no-names are, right? Scratching our heads at the Norv Turners, at the Brandon Staley's, certainly, everybody, right? It feels like we've always had a rock-solid roster. On paper, the Chargers are coming, man. We're the off-season kings of the NFL. And then come game day, things come crashing down because it's just the leadership, man. It feels like that's the one thing that's really been holding us back. And this change is going to usher in a new era of Chargers football unlike anything that we've ever seen. Who's got it better than us? Nobody, baby. And Jim Harbaugh is leading the charge as to why I'm hyped about this season. It's a big deal, man. It's a big, big deal. We're going to sprinkle in some details about Jim Harbaugh as we go through the rest of this list, because we're already 8-10 minutes into this video, and it's been all Jim. But it's a big deal. Biggest deal of the offseason. Biggest deal of this team in decades, if we're being honest, since Marty Ball. The next biggest thing I'm hyped about this season is the run game. Now, what's interesting is at the top, I don't know if I mentioned it at the top of this show. I did talk about it at one point as the Chargers. Yes, we've had flashy rosters in the past, but, this season is a little bit different. Things are being done a little bit different, right? We have the coach, and he's doing things by the book, right? He's hiring, or he's bringing in players like Joe Alt, not flashy, but effective. He's bringing in the Ravens running backs and Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, not flashy, but effective. He's understanding how to build the roster and turn it over time, right? We need to give this some time to really solidify in the direction that he understands success. That's been bringing him success everywhere he's going. And the run game's been a huge part of that for Jim Harbaugh. And the reason I mentioned not the flashy hires, not the flashy member or player signings, but the important ones, is I do think that does represent Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. These aren't the flashiest names out there, right? The Chargers at some point were connected to Derrick Henry and other players that definitely bring a lot more star power to the roster. But Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, they're going to do just fine. This team is being built for their success. This team is being built ultimately for Justin Herbert's success, but the running back success is Justin Herbert's success, and Justin Herbert's success equals wins, equals the fan success, right? Equals the team's success. I feel like the run game is going to be so much better than we're used to seeing. Honestly, Chargers fans, when's the last time that we had a run game that really knocked your socks off? Huh? That one season that Ryan Matthews was kind of mostly sort of healthy? Maybe. Melvin Gordon had a couple of pretty good years, right? But we've never really been that run team. We've never really been that since LaDainian Tomlinson. It's been a long time since the Chargers have been this dangerous on the ground. I'm excited to see how this works out, man. Yes, Gus Edwards isn't a bona fide stud. He could be. J.K. Dobbins, if he were to stay healthy, could be a stud, right? That could happen with Ben Herbert on the squad now. The Chargers are about to be able to run. And guys, we got some nice backups too, and Isaiah Spiller and Kamani Vidal, right? We got some nice guys in there. We got some nice players to operate this machine. I'm excited to see it get to work, dude. I really am. What will this team look like behind a solid running game? Pretty different. And I'm so ready for different, man. It's spilling out my ears. I want a new Chargers offense that helps their quarterback succeed. We saw this with Phillip Rivers. We saw this with Drew Brees previous that too with LaDainian Tomlinson that short period. Our quarterbacks with a solid run game tend to thrive in the NFL. It's been kind of a thing for the longest time in the sport, right? Chargers haven't really had that in a long time. It kind of felt maybe we did that a little bit again with guys like Melvin Gordon and Ryan Matthews, but it never really solidified. And I think a lot of that has to do because the Chargers didn't really build the team for that run game to thrive. They got the talent, but they just didn't have the surrounding talent to help him succeed, be it the offensive line. I'm ready to help my quarterback, man. I mean, again, I'm not the oldest Chargers fan, barely remember Brees if at all, but Phillip Rivers was the guy I grew up watching. He was my quarterback. I love that dude to death, man. He's the space cowboy, the Star-Lord, right? Just such an amazing era of quarterback play with him and Eli and Big Ben and all those guys. I was so fortunate to be able to grow up watching Phillip Rivers. Amazing dude. We just never really helped him. We kind of tried with weapons here and there, but he was kind of playing hero ball all the time. And the same thing started with Justin Herbert. We had weapons, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. We had the quarterback play, but he had to play hero ball all the time. It feels so good to finally build a run game, build a system that helps take that load off of our quarterback's shoulders. Not just that. I mean, I'm excited for the run game because of the success that it could bring. A new style of offense that could really ground and pound our way to some dubs, right, that we've been waiting to see. A great formula to close out games. One of our biggest problems have been losing games at the last second. Not being able to close out a fourth quarter. This is what this offense is designed to do. And the Chargers are going to be very successful doing so. I don't know how long we're going to have Gus. I don't know how long we're going to have JK, but this is a great way to start things out. The Chargers, in my opinion, are going to be in play for a running back or two in the next couple of drafts. But this is not a bad way to start. Transition into the quarterback play. Justin Herbert. Obviously, when you're talking about some of the top things, and again, these outside of Jim Harbaugh, this really isn't in any particular order. But I wanted to put it in an order that was easy to talk about. Justin Herbert. Obviously, like my second biggest thing that I'm excited about in the season, Jim Harbaugh being number one. There's a lot of different aspects to watch there. A lot of different things that I want to sit back as a fan and experience and just spectating how he's going to build this new squad in this new era, right? But Justin Herbert is at the center of it all. Justin Herbert is the nucleus of the Los Angeles Chargers team right now. And Jim Harbaugh is doing such a good job stealthily in creating a system that lets him thrive, right? Lets him be the star. We've seen him. I should have grabbed a photo of him in the gold jersey, right? In OTAs. That's who he is, man. He's our golden boy. He's our sunshine. He's the dude which this entire team revolves around. And it's something that I think we're starting to see in Justin Herbert reflect in his day-to-day, right? Not just on the practice field, but also in life. We saw him at that concert with Bozeman and company and some guys from the Rams, just having a gay old time. Him and, or that concert and the golfing event that they just did. It just feels like a new Herbert, right? He's out here enjoying life. He really is. And it's something new. It's a new side of Herbert that I don't know if we've seen. It feels like the coaching staff has been so well put together to help his success and help his joy of the game. I could not believe when I heard about the Shane Day thing. Again, I can't confirm it, but it sounds like the Chargers in the Brandon Staley era weren't completely comfortable with the privilege of Justin Herbert with Shane Day, and for whatever reason got rid of Shane Day. And when Shane Day came back, Justin Herbert completely flipped a 180 in terms of what I saw in his persona on and off the field. So very, very cool to see stuff like that. But even, outside of Justin Herbert's feelings, this team is going to make him very successful this year. You guys are looking for the numbers. You're looking for the stats. Some people a little bit worried that Justin Herbert is not going to be utilized properly because we're going to be running the ball a lot. Let me be clear, man. The Chargers running the ball a lot doesn't mean we're not going to be throwing the ball. Sure, Justin Herbert, we're throwing 40, 50 times a game. That's probably over. That's not going to happen. But you can still expect Herbert to throw 30, 35 times a game, and for those to be very significant plays. Those are going to be big moments, dudes. If the Chargers have a significant run game, it's going to open up what Justin Herbert can do through the air significantly. Every pass, every attempt, every target is going to be amplified to what we've seen in seasons past. Like one thing I do mention a lot, which I'm going to say again here, is that the last time we've seen a version like this of Justin Herbert, a system a little bit like this of Justin Herbert, was his rookie year with Anthony Lynn. Right, Anthony Lynn was a run mentality kind of head coach, and he tried to make it happen despite not having a good offensive line at all. That was a horrible offensive line, and not really having the talent at running back. Who was our back then? Who was our running back then? Was it Barner or Scott? I don't remember. It was one of those ex-Eagles running backs, maybe ex-Steelers. I don't remember. He was okay, big guy, I remember. But it wasn't like we were working with anything special, right? The team wasn't built to be a run team. Yet we ran that way, and it opened up a lot of opportunity for Justin Herbert. So much so that you have to credit it a little bit for Justin Herbert's Rookie of the Year season. Like, he kicked off in a really good way, and I think we're about to see something similar to that open up again for Justin Herbert. Every pass is going to have a threat of a nice run, a nice draw, a nice play action, whatever, and it's going to create better targets, better opportunities for our receivers, but more so better opportunities for Justin Herbert to stand in the pocket, be confident in his bookend tackles, let this play develop in front of him, and see what that can do, right? When a defense has to respect other elements, not just play out, against the pass over and over and over, but when Justin Herbert has opportunities, they maximize potential. Anyway, Justin Herbert's going to be fantastic this year. Definitely one of the biggest reasons I'm excited. Like I mentioned in that segment just now, too, Justin Herbert's going to have some opportunity this year via their offensive line. It's kind of crazy how during the draft, I'm there with you guys, okay? Malik Neighbors, he looks amazing in camp, by the way. He was the dude. We had many opportunities on this channel to do mock drafts. Outside the channel, too, I was guest on a lot of different programs, the Bleacher Report, and I would say 9 out of 10 times I was taking a wide receiver. Sometimes it was Rome, sometimes it was Neighbors. Sometimes we got lucky and got Marvin Harrison. Offensive line, we did a few times, but more as an exercise, right? At the time of the draft, my enthusiasm and excitement for Joe Alt was more of like, yay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great player. Not flashy, but it's a great player. I was more relieved it wasn't J.C. Latham, who is a great player too, but definitely not a number 5 overall pick, in my opinion. We got Joe Alt. As time went on, though, and as we got digging deeper into the pick, and as we got more digging deeper into Jim Harbaugh as a coach and how he builds his teams and how he's found success, the Joe Alt pick not only made more sense, but it got me more excited. And it also came off the back of a lot of quotes I've been hearing about the run game. They're like, oh, Justin Herbert's so amazing. Can you imagine him with a run game? Can you imagine him in a better play action situation? Could you imagine him in a better RPO situation? I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess we definitely could think that. Yeah, definitely. So totally. And then they say, could you imagine Justin Herbert with an extra second or two in the pocket? Oh, wait, hold up. Now we're talking. Because not just, the run game, which is going to significantly be boosted by this Chargers offensive line. Mind you, This offensive line wasn't originally designed for the kind of offense that Jim Harbaugh is going to want to run, but the way that he's moving things around with the introduction of Joe Alt, like, it's going to get nuts really quick in here, dude. I'm not going to lie. Like, this team is going to get really... It's going to change its face really, really fast. And one of the biggest things that I'm getting excited about is how important of an emphasis we're seeing on offensive line, not just from the starters, but from how the starters operate to their chemistry, from their moving around, finding their potential, to most importantly right now for me is the depth. The starters look insanely good. Like, this is the best offensive line I think I've seen in my time as a fan. I don't think I've seen a better O-line. And I've been a fan since like 06, 08, wherever. Like sometime in between 06 and 08. I've been a fan a long time. This is the best line that I've seen. And it got even better with Joe Alt. The depth looks really, really good. A lot of people confused about the Alex Leatherwood signing. That's a great signing if you're just looking for depth. And we're seeing stuff like that all over the roster. The line's going to be something significant, though, man. Like we were talking about in change, like we've always had that star-studded roster that we get excited about. On paper, we're the off-season kings, whatever. The intelligent move was hiring a head coach. That was really the problem. That's going to solve a lot of our issues. That's breaking the mold, breaking the chain of mediocrity. Offensive line, something that recently we have been investing in, right? We've got Rashawn Slater and Zion Johnson first-round picks. We had Corey Linsley in there for a little bit. It characteristically and historically hasn't been a position that the Chargers invest a lot in, at least in my time, right? Now, in the last couple of years, and more specifically the upcoming Jim Harbaugh era, you'd better bet your butt that this is going to be one of the most highly emphasized positions on the entire team. And like the hiring of head coach being that thing that breaks the mold, the building of the offensive and defensive lines are going to be one of the biggest reasons this team finds success. And it's funny because it's almost like, I don't know, different aspects in your life when you're chasing a career or chasing a goal or whatever. It feels like 99% of the time the answers are kind of in front of you, but you're always distracted, right? There's the flashiness, there's the procrastination, there's a million different reasons not to do something, where oftentimes the answer is kind of in front of you. Football is no different, especially when you're building a team. It's really easy to get distracted by the flashy wide receiver. It's really easy to get distracted by the star-studded running back. It's really easy to get distracted by throwing a lot of money at free agency and big names, yada, 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 when really the answer is kind of there all along. And it feels like that discipline by Jim Harbaugh is why he finds success everywhere he goes. That answer has been the trenches the entire time. I think there's a lot of teams that understand that. A lot of teams that have been up and coming because of that philosophy. I think the Niners started really turning heads when they started focusing on their O-line. The Browns have certainly turned into a big contender when they started focusing on their O-line. The Buccaneers really, hit a stride when they started focusing on their offensive and defensive lines. Like, it feels like teams that really build those positions find success a lot quicker. And the Chargers are finally part of that. It may take a little time, right? Because we are transitioning, but this offensive line is something that gets me really pumped. The defensive line is going to need some attention. It definitely will. But this is a great way to start building the offense. Now, what's an offensive line going to give you? Well, a lot of it is time. And this is probably when you guys know me. I would be lying to you guys if I said in my hype video that I wasn't excited for Ladd McConkey, like singling him out as a big reason I'm going to be tuning in on Sundays. No, Ladd McConkey is my dude. I've said it 100 million times. I'm going to say it one more time. This has been my dude for a long time, like well before the draft. There are many situations where we went into mock drafts not getting a wide receiver. A lot of times it was Brock Bowers. Sometimes it was offensive line. Sometimes it was somebody on defense, or we would trade down. Ladd McConkey was like 10 out of 10 times, maybe 9 out of 10 times. The guy that I was targeting in the second round. A lot of the times I was trading back into the first round to try and grab him. This has been my dude, especially after we let go of Keenan Allen. I think a lot of us were pushing for Malik Neighbors. I was. We're all kind of hoping for Marvin Harrison. A lot of things that we need to, or big cleats, I should say, that we need to fill of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. And I think that would put a lot of pressure on Chargers fans to go all in on a wide receiver in the first round. But I'm hoping and praying that it didn't take away from the hype that Ladd McConkey provided in the second round. For one, great value. Chargers did have to trade up to get him, but seeing Ladd in the second round is a big, significant thing. Reason number 2, this is going to be a difference maker. Like, Keenan Allen He's always going to be a very important piece of my fandom as a San Diego/Los Angeles Charger fan. But Ladd McConkey is as good as it gets when it comes to having to bring somebody in to fill that role, right? Ladd, there are differences in their game, but there's a lot of similarities as well. He's going to get open. We're hearing crazy stuff in camp, right? OTAs and rookie minicamp have been very good to Ladd McConkey. Justin Herbert is finding a chemistry really quickly with Ladd McConkey. And he's turning heads as maybe one of the most significant talking points in the offseason right now. McConkey is the real deal. I've known it for a long time. I was hyped when we grabbed him. But now that we're seeing him in action, my confidence in his ability to step into the Keenan role, which is like that sometimes outside, mainly slot guy, getting separation, being open and available in have to have it situations, third and long, 3rd and 15, things that we've seen a lot as Chargers fans with Keenan Allen. I have a lot of confidence that Ladd can step in and give us something, even in his rookie season, that's reminiscent of a Keenan Allen. The biggest thing that gets me excited, though, is when you add that with the potential of a run game and an offensive line. Because McConkey has something that no other Chargers offense or wide receiver has right now, and that's speed. Right, Darius Davis does kind of, but he's more of a special team guy. The speed is going to be a new element here. And when you add that on top of a really good run game, a really good quarterback, timed in the pocket, McConkey is probably primed to be one of the more impressive rookie wide receivers that we've seen in a long time. We've hoped for Quentin Johnson, who could still bounce back, but there's a lot to get excited about with Ladd McConkey, man. Let's go ahead and start getting the hype train started right now. I know I've been pushing for it for a long time, but Ladd McConkey is going to be great. We're going to start pushing through a lot of these a little bit quicker. I'm excited for the tight end position to make a comeback. The Chargers haven't really been a tight end team since Hunter Henry, kind of. It really was Antonio Gates, right? Gates and Henry, when they were together, that's the last time I can remember the Chargers being that tight end team. Watch out, dudes. That's about to change. We're seeing some comeback stories right now, one of them definitely being Hayden Hurst. I think the tight end position is going to be very, very involved in the offense this year. Not just in terms of blocking. Will Dissly's going to be important for blocking. These guys are going to be important for blocking. But I think this position is going to see a lot more in terms of volume than we're used to seeing because of the new system that we're running. Run heavy, you're going to see a lot more tight ends on the field, more opportunities, less Austin Eckler, that kind of dump underneath, running back, kind of scat back sort of thing that Justin Herbert's been working with for a long time. That's gone. Those targets got to go somewhere. I think McConkey and the tight ends primarily are going to see a lot of that. Okay, I'm excited for Jesse Minter, man. Jesse Minter is going to be a big part of this team in their identity shift moving forward. We've seen a lot of the Jim Harbaugh effect, right, everywhere he goes. And one of the biggest things that I can say about Jim that I appreciate, that I love, is bringing in the right fit for his coordinators. He's been very good at that. One of the biggest things that I think really pushed Michigan over the edge to be this prime team, to go out there and win a national championship, was Jesse Minter and Jim Harbaugh's foresight to build an NFL-style defense in college. Like, it was great. And in translating, well, that's one big benefit for us as Chargers fans, translating that defense to the Chargers in the NFL isn't going to be that big of a stretch. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of change that needs to happen, a lot of shifting around that needs to happen with the players. The way that we draft is going to change a little bit, but we got some prime pieces in place to make that happen. Jesse Minter is going to be a very good fit for this team. The Chargers, yes, the Raven West theme is going to continue here, but we're going to see some boostage, some physicality, some things change in the way that make the Ravens a very special defense in the NFL today. Jesse Minter is going to be fantastic. With the biggest reason that defense is going to be fantastic, in my opinion, is going to be the pass rush. The Chargers, in investing in the offensive line, like we talked about being a big deal for the offense, investing in the defensive line is going to be huge. Yeah, edge doesn't, depending on your perspective of it, defensive line still does need work, but they are part of that. And the Chargers arguably have like a top 3 edge position situation in the NFL right now, if not like top 2, right? It's insane. Kind of depth that we have. The starters are already really good in Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. Almost every team in the NFL would kill to have that combo. But behind them, we have budding rookie Tuli Tuipulotu. We got Bud Dupree, budding Bud, coming in as another guy to rotate in. The Chargers pass rush is not only set up for, foolproofing themselves in terms of injury, but they're also going to be very well rested, pretty much throughout the entire game. You got guys rotating in and out all the time. You're going to have at least 3 of them on the field for the majority of the time, I have to imagine. This is one of the most dangerous units in the NFL. Jesse Minter's going to put these guys to work, and that's one of the biggest reasons, like I have the past couple of seasons, I'm excited to watch the defense. This defense is going to eat. And Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, I'm hoping to finally see that season where it comes together. This is going to be a really good situation for them to do that. A big beneficiary of this defense is going to also be Derwin James. We say every single season that we're excited for Derwin. This is a particularly exciting season for Derwin James. The Chargers are going to be relying on him a lot. Yes, the DBs certainly do need help. But Derwin is going to be set up very, very well with this defense, throwing all kinds of heat at the quarterback, moving him into the box, into the slot, up high, wherever. James is going to have more opportunities to pick off a scrambling quarterback running for their life and trying to chuck it out of bounds, chuck it to the open guy in the middle. Derwin's going to be patrolling. I think he's going to see more opportunities for turnovers in the air. But you add him to the equation of an already blitzing Thule, an already blitzing Bud, and already blitzing Joey or Mac on one or the other side, it's going to create chaos. It really is. Lastly, the last couple of things on defense, I'm excited for Junior Colson, man. Junior Colson, talk about a perfect fit. Jesse Minter and this new system he's bringing in for Michigan, it's going to need a little bit of transition, right? It's going to need, leadership to help trickle down to the players, even down to the depth, right? Junior Colson's the perfect player to do that. Not only is he, a Bobby Wagner-like kind of potential player, but he's got the smarts, he's got the experience and the exposure to lead this team on defense, to relay the orders of his general, Jesse Minter, down to the troops. And it's going to be a very, very cool way of seeing this team communicate. Again, a lot to put on a rookie, but very, very rarely do you see an opportunity like this where a rookie can make such a huge impact via their leadership. I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see the new culture shift, man. Ben Herbert, Chargers, what have we been talking about? The big moves, the obvious, the right answers that we often ignore. The right answer all along has been hiring the right coach. We've done that. The right answer all along is building the trenches. We have an awesome edge group. We have an awesome offensive line. The answer all along has been getting the right guy in the training room. Getting the right trainers in here, getting the right guys to keep our players healthy. The Chargers have been cursed for how many years now? How many generations? It's been a long time since I felt like, hey, the Chargers aren't completely and utterly, being crapped on by injuries. Ben Herbert's going to give you as good of an opportunity to stay on the field as anybody in the NFL. This is one of the best, most decorated, guys out there to keep their troops on the field. It really is. And it's a move that we've been begging as Chargers fans for the team to make for the longest time. Well, guess what? It was just made. It was just made. I'm excited for the last chance you mentality of the team. Like I told you guys with the offensive line, the depth is impressive. The depth's impressive everywhere with some of the more emphasized positions, right? But a lot of it has to do with the way the Chargers are building their depth this year. It's kind of weird. Chargers fans aren't used to this. We were worried about the Alex Leatherwood signing. Like, what are we doing? We know who Alex Leatherwood is. He's not great. He's had a time to prove who he is, and he's been more often mediocre. But you know what? It's a depth signing, and we're just not used to that as Chargers fans. What? It's a depth signing. And then you got guys like Christian Fulton, who's a straight-up last-chance use signing. Like, hey, man, this is it. We have an awesome system. We got an awesome edge group. Let's see what you can do out there. And if not, we got guys behind you that are ready to compete. And Cam Hart, Dean Leonard, et cetera, et cetera. The competition's fierce this year. The depth signings are different and intelligent. We might be having Tony Jefferson come in for a spell or two, right? That's super exciting to think about. These are guys I know. I'm used to the Chargers bringing in this known name that I've never heard before, maybe not even in Madden, and kind of seeing how that goes. Now we're kind of understanding, how the Chargers are building their depth. These are guys that, you might not have liked their production the last couple of years. Maybe they're having trouble staying on the field, but the Chargers are offering a chance to change that, and it's coming from a depth role to start out. So I don't know. It's not a bad way to kick things off. Joe Ortiz, another big reason why I'm excited about this team. The way that he's building the squad. Yeah, we talked about the depth signings. It is very exciting, but I'm excited to see what he does in the season. Chargers have been this team that kind of, run around, not really do much, try not to break what's not, or fix what's not broken kind of thing. It feels like the Chargers were more or less uninterested in making moves during the season. I'm interested to see what Joe Ortiz does this year. We have a lot of money. There's going to be opportunities to sign players that are leaving squads or getting cut. finding ways to keep the team competitive, even if a player goes down or whatever. Like, Joe Ortiz might be different than what we've seen in seasons past with Tom Telesco. Maybe we do see a move or two in the middle of the year. Maybe we do see a move or two that helps us the compensatory formula. Maybe we do see a move or two that make a lot of sense in the offseason in terms of team building for the year, the next season that we've never seen before, right? What if the Chargers do go out there and get their corner of the future via trade before the November trade deadline? Like, it's something that could happen this year. So far, I've been very impressed with Joe Ortiz team building in the offseason. I'm excited to see what he does during the season. Something that gets me pumped. Coaching and depth gets me pumped as well. The depth that we talked about with Joe Ortiz gets me excited, but the coaching as well has got the players fired up. More specifically, a lot of the players that are coming back to coach their coach with the Chargers, that have been with Jim Harbaugh before. Navarro Bowman, certainly kind of crazy to think about him coming back as a coach. Chargers players have to be going bananas about that. You respect that. I think the players are very much so responding to Jim Harbaugh, the ex-NFL quarterback journeyman. They're certainly responding to Navarro Bowman. They're certainly responding to Nick Hardwick. Those are awesome signings that we've not really seen as Chargers fans before. Shane Day coming back was a huge deal for Justin Herbert. You got guys like Mark Trestman, ex-NFL head coach, coming in. You got Sanjay coming in, the wide receiver coach. You got Marcus Brady. There's a lot, man. There's a lot of unique, different, and trend-breaking hires that we've had at coach for the Chargers that's building a culture. My biggest point of emphasis in this whole video is the culture. It's been that for a lot of videos this year. Wow, look at what's happening. Let's try and dissect what's happening. Why is this happening? Jim Harbaugh is different, man. This team is different. The culture is shifting. The Chargers are not going to be the Chargers. They ain't your daddy's Chargers no more. This is the new Jim Harbaugh's Chargers, which is funny. This actually might be your granddaddy's Chargers. We're going back to old school football, man. And this Chargers team is definitely something fresh, something new, something old made new. And Jim Harbaugh is bringing that element everywhere. From the weight room, the locker room, the field, the practice field, off the field, the team, organized events. Everywhere he goes, the team is different. Everyone says that. That's part of the squad. That's around the players. That's around the coaching. That's around the team. Everyone's saying it's different. That's because of Jim Harbaugh. The culture is here, man. Culture is here. And the last thing I'm going to allude to, and this is going to be its own separate video, so a little preview here. Probably one of the biggest things that gets me excited this year is going to be the schedule. This is a very unique opportunity, Bolt fam. Chargers last year had a horrible schedule. That ultimately did blow up in our face. This year, we're fortunate to see one of the easiest schedules in the NFL help ease, Jim Harbaugh into that role, but also make something of his first season. I think the Chargers are here to win, man. This schedule is certainly going to help that out a little bit, but I think the Chargers are going to put up some dubs that we have no business winning. I think this team's going to perform way sooner than a lot of people are expecting. I'm not putting that pressure on the squad personally. I'm going in understanding that this is a build that's going to take some time. Jim Harbaugh needs and deserves our respect as fans to build this over the next couple of years to a point of success that we're all expecting a year or two down the road. And I'm willing to be patient. But honestly, if you're asking me my gut feeling, I think this team's going to win. I think this team's going to start proving itself. And I think maybe the schedule has a little bit to do with that. And it's going to instill a lot of confidence in Harbaugh and his team and his coaching and his squad earlier than we expect. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Long video today, but guys, this is a big season. It deserves the length. It deserves the attention on this video. And honestly, it's one that, as a fan, I wake up every day thinking it was a dream with Jim Harbaugh, thinking that, oh my God, sometimes I forget how fortunate we are as a fan base, but I also mostly forget how different of a team it's going to look this year. The Chargers have been more or less the same for a long time, more than a decade, right? We've been more or less the same squad. This is the first year that I can truly say, honestly, this is going to be a different football team. And it may be a little bit shocking to some of the fans, but just wait until the success starts to roll in as well. Then we're going to be all about that, man. And Jim Harbaugh, I'm excited to see him add another squad, another destination, another organization to his list of turnarounds. Because that's all he does, man. That's all he does. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you like what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub. On your way out, we'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up, stay frosty. Remember to put in the comment section some of your favorite or most anticipated things about the Chargers in the upcoming year. Let's go, baby. It's bad lad season, lightning lad season, McConkey Kong. We got to settle on a nickname sooner or later.